What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tapping into another episode of the Mindful Moneymakers podcast, where we hold different conversations with thought leaders, creatives, and entrepreneurs all about the different mindset shifts you need to make if you want to live a life by design instead of by default. Today, I'm super excited about our guest. It's been a long time coming. Our guest today is an author, a certified life coach, a certified meditation instructor, an NLP practitioner, and a clinical hypnotherapist. Her platform, Rise in Color, was created to provide women of color creators with both safer and greater representation in the wellness and socioeconomic space to improve their life with coaching and educational content like masterclasses, ebooks, videos, and so much more. Today, we are talking to a powerhouse showing up to impart us with her wisdom. And I'm so grateful to have Kelly Green this morning. How are you?
I am fantastic. That intro was amazing. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, it's gonna be a blast. I'm excited. I'm excited. So before we jump in, I actually want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about where you started in your journey, where you are now, and where we're headed. What's it
Yeah,
like to
sure.
be you?
Absolutely. What's it like to be me? Let's see. So I began, like most entrepreneurs and creatives, in the 9 to 5 world. You get your degree, get a job, because that's what we're told to do. I ended up in human resources because I have always loved people. I actually like people, like helping them, things like that. But I just never felt like that was my place. I never felt like that's where I wanted to spend the next 40 years or 50 years of my life, in a cubicle in an office doing the same thing every day in and day out. So I started to look for avenues to escape, really. And I ended up like trying out acting, moving to LA. I'm from Queens, New York, for those who are unaware. And those places, just it didn't work. It didn't feel aligned. So I remember once like acting was done, after I quit my corporate job in HR and I came back home, I ended up moving back in with my parents because obviously I left my apartment, to move. And it was really tough for me during that time because not only was I jobless, confused, feeling unsuccessful in comparison to my friends. Remember, comparison is a thief of joy. Don't want to do that,
Yeah,
but I did
that's a
it.
fact.
Right, but I did it. So that was a really tough year. This was back in 2015, and on top of that, even worse, I ended up losing 3 family members that year. And I just remember being in like a really, really dark place. And I remember even that Halloween of that year when my friends asked me to come out, like cheer up, like just trying to get me out the house to have fun. And I wanted no parts of it. And I just remember like being in bed alone under the covers and just scrolling through Instagram, watching them have fun. And I'm like, I literally didn't have the energy to do anything more than scroll in the dark. And I think it was a couple weeks after that, though, I started to think about my cousin Darius, who was my age at the time when he passed, unfortunately. And he was out in the community doing it. Like he was working with the kids. He was going back to school. He was boxing, just really like doing amazing things in the community. And I'm like, I started to think about how the fact that he's gone and he was doing so much, and I'm just sitting here like marinating in this bed, like this is a poor use of my life, and that ended up being enough motivation for me to begin to get up, to begin to rise and open the curtains, let the light shine in the room, shower, start thinking about my life and my future again, because I said, how dare I, use my space, my life to not do anything with it, not be productive. So, I said, you know what, the grieving's done. Like whatever didn't work, didn't work. I need to move forward. And I ended up hiring a business coach actually who helped me create my platform and start to build my brand. And that following year, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a journey.
Mhm.
A lot of in and out of corporate, back and forth, because that fear was still there. That mindset shift hadn't really happened
Mhm.
completely, to the extent that it is today. And it just was a lot of trial and error, back and forth. And I remember I ended up getting a speeding ticket during this journey. I wasn't speeding though, y'all. I really wasn't. It was the Caucasian man in the white car beside me. But the cop pulled me over. It is what it is. Went to court in Staten Island. If you're from New York, you know Staten Island judges suck. They're very harsh. And so, you know, he found me guilty, got fined, points in the license. I was disgusted, to say the least. So I was really upset that day. But, you know, having an elevated mindset by then, I said, you know, maybe this is God giving me a sign. Maybe somewhere in my life I'm speeding, I'm not being attentive enough. Let me see what I should do. And I felt, you know, very upset about it. So I remember my friend Jasmine was talking about yoga for years. To go to yoga, don't go to yoga class. And I have a background in dance, so I stereotyped yoga and meditation like most people do, especially those of, you know, of our
Yeah.
hue. And so I avoided it for a while, and then I finally went. And when I tell you it was an experience, it was such a mind, body, soul, like complete body experience, to the point where I was laying down in Shavasana at the end of the practice, and the tears started to come, because it was just such a release, and to be at such peace and to be in such stillness, like intentional stillness, which, especially if you're working around in New York City, you just go, 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 go. Everyone's like, what you doing next? What you doing? You know?
Right.
So I ended up going through that practice, deciding I'm going to share this with everyone of color. Like, I just need to share, you know, this practice with everyone. And then I just started building that wellness portion into the coaching, and then added NLP, because more mindset, which is neuro-linguistic programming for those who are unaware, certified in that, and emotional freedom techniques. So everything mindset, mindfulness, meditation, like that's my jam. And that's where I am now.
Yes, indeed. And it's no confusion about why we're here right now. I'm resonating with so much of the things that you're saying. And a lot of the conversations that I have usually include this dark period where there has to be like an ego death, and you realize that there is a meaning for your life. I think what I heard somebody, it was probably on TikTok too, where we met. You create phenomenal content on TikTok.
Yeah.
I love all
Me
your
too.
content. But I was watching a video. He said everybody is born with two lives, and the second one begins when he realizes he only has one.
I only
It's
have one.
crazy.
This is
Yeah,
it.
it because my dark period is, it feels like I'm either going to commit suicide, right, and end it right now, or I'm going to do something worthwhile, you know. So I feel like at that point you kind of commit to figuring it out, like what the
Yeah.
hell is actually going on, rather than just taking it for face value. And yeah, and then just persevering through it. So I'm happy that it happened. I'm happy that you were depressed, because because it led to this, and you're showing up, and you're
Looking
showing
back,
up.
yeah, it makes sense. Thank you. I appreciate that. Growth and clarity definitely came from it, so I appreciate it. And, you know, like you said, that commitment, and before that I had to make that decision. It's always the choice. We always have a choice in any and every situation, how we're going to show up, right,
Mhm,
or lack thereof, and each one gives us a different result. So what are we choosing?
mhm. Right.
Yeah.
Either love or fear.
Love or
And
fear.
I'm
Yeah.
from I'm from Brooklyn, right? And I live in LA.
Hey, you're
So so I'm feeling like California, LA particularly, is like the mindfulness capital of the world. And I would love to get the message back to New York, because like you said, hustle, 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 hustle. That's the
yeah.
mentality. Go, 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 go. And that's not what you think of when you think of California. It's kind of like vibes and what's the flow and all that stuff. So it fits perfectly with meditation. And I'm wearing crystals and stuff now, and I'd love to get it back home. So I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe this question is for me particularly. I don't know if it's for anybody in the audience, but I'm gonna be selfish and ask, like, how is the mindfulness and awareness community
Mhm.
back in New York right now? Or how would you say it is?
It's growing. It's growing. Not as much as, of course, Cali, but we're definitely making strides out here. There's a lot of locations popping up in Brooklyn, actually. A lot of BK yoga this, and you know, just Brooklyn locations that are just really popping off. Heel House is another one,
Mm,
and and they're growing, especially for the same purpose or the same intention I got into it, was just to bring more mindfulness practices to, communities of color, because we are usually not exposed to this, and we have the stigma around it where it's boring or it's weird or what kind of Buddhist, like there's just negative thoughts around the practices, because it's different, because it's not necessarily what we saw, heard, experienced growing up. But the reality is it's helpful. And just like most things we're intentional with it, if it has a good purpose, we are intentional about it, then it helps us. So it's exciting, to see that it's growing like this. Even with COVID happening, this pandemic, it's exciting to see how even through Zoom virtually people are connecting and bringing more wellness practices to people. Mental health is being talked about way more nowadays, which helps my business this year like really blossom. Again, it's unfortunate, what's happening, but I'm glad that I was prepared, not knowing, the uses that I would have for all my certifications and training. So it's just growing, and we're talking about it more and more and more. Even on like different apps, people are more comfortable discussing, even their issues. People are being really raw and transparent out here, and it's exciting to see the community evolve.
Mhm. It's beautiful, and I'm really impressed by your training in NLP and hypnotherapy. Those are things that I want to add to my repertoire because I know how powerful it is. So my question is, what type of results can somebody expect from working with an NLP practitioner?
Oh, amazing results. So um, what NLP is, like neuro linguistic programming, it's basically like the language of the mind. And a lot of our behaviors and a lot of the way we react to things and speak, our nature really comes from what's been embedded in our subconscious mind. A lot of things that we don't have to think about, as we move around life, how we react to conversations, how we react in relationships, how we react in jobs, or the fact that we are reactional instead of just, responding to certain things makes such a big difference. So with NLP, different techniques that we can do helps to develop a different emotional response to things, helps us to really just get out of that low vibrational field of energy where we typically are, especially in low points. Life is life. We can't expect every single second to be, like rainbows and sunshine.
Mhm.
So when we are at low points, it's like, what do we do? When I am a person that's experiencing imposter syndrome, what do I do? When I am a person who is experiencing fear before showing up in a Zoom meeting, before showing up on a podcast, what do I do? When I'm feeling anxiety, what do I do? So these techniques, working with me, I help to establish what your problem areas are, your low vibrational energies, and I help to release that. I help to release those blockages, because a lot of it is just energetic blockages that's in our body. So like even one technique which I enjoy, which is super easy to do, called EFT, emotional freedom technique. It's basically you act like acupuncture for the body. Yeah, so you're doing tapping, also known as tapping, and you're just tapping at these different meridian points in our body to release the blockages of energy. And it's so simple to do, and it's like I wish more people knew about this. So that's why I'm like trying to tell everybody about it, like do this, do that, or work with me, shameless plug. And
Yeah.
so just releasing like generational trauma. Like with my clients, I have them create like a whole welcome package, like tell me all the drama, like tell me what you've been going through. And we work together for like 8 weeks to really just establish a new identity, in a sense, a new way to show up. Because when people are like, how are you so positive, how are you so happy? I'm like, I do the work. Like it takes doing the work. It takes addressing the things that we shove under the rug and we try not to pay attention to and we ignore and we're afraid to bring up to the surface. And then we, tap into that some way or somehow with the technique to really just release that,
Mhm.
change the whole
Powerful.
mindset. Yes, very
Yes,
powerful.
indeed. Yes,
Very
indeed.
cool.
That is my experience. And it's so exciting. It's like a journey. Every day you wake up, you get to learn something new. You get to
Yeah.
try something different. You get to be grateful for something else, and I think it does a lot to find, uncover, and hold on to that happiness because even when it comes to challenges, you get to shift your relationship with the negative things that happen in our lives and realize that there is something to learn and you get introspective. Like when you got your speeding ticket, It's like, this can't just be about a speeding ticket because I wasn't speeding. But let me ask the question, what parts, what areas of my life am I speeding? Where can
Yes.
I bring more awareness to? And then you take all of these negative experiences and use it as a guiding light, or a sign
Yeah.
to dig deeper, because the only way out is within, right?
Right.
So
Exactly.
life just becomes beautiful. And I mean, I've been like ridiculously happy for a ridiculous amount of time, and it's kind of like you get suspicious of it, like, damn,
But
something gotta pop out the bushes
wait a
somewhere.
minute, hold on. 'Cause you know when you watch enough TV, you're like, wait a minute, it's too good. Like,
Yeah.
hold on, something's about to come around that corner. Somebody's about to pop up.
Right. Right,
Yeah.
like you're so happy, you're suspicious of it, but then you've done the work, so you know better than to
Oh yeah, I don't get
be the
suspicious of it
suspicious
anymore.
of it.
I'm open, receptive, I receive, ready. I don't think like, because some people are in that mentality, like waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? You're just waiting
Mhm.
for that negative thing because it's too good. I'm putting quotation marks up. Too good to be true. It's like,
Right,
nah, you manifested this. Enjoy
right.
it.
It's true.
Somehow, some way, if you did the work, you manifested this. So receive.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. How can we use the things that we learn in mindfulness to start making some money?
That's a great question. So I feel we all have talents. We all have a purpose. This is my personal belief, and we have to do a good job at tapping into what it is that we enjoy, that we can make money from. Because nowadays, you can make money anywhere from coaching to sending feet pics, like whatever your champion. It's a variety, right? So it's like, what are you comfortable doing? What do you feel, would make an impact in the world, ideally, and an income? But you have to have a mindset first of that I can make money. So many people want to make money, but they're walking around with the I'm broke mindset, and the two of those do not align, and they cannot cooperate with each other. So what are you choosing, right? Like, which mindset are you going to choose? So when you elevate your mindset doing different things like NLP practices, that works too. You can do EFT for money blocks. You can journal for money blocks. You can release negative things around money doing like NLP techniques, or there's plenty of ways to do it, because you have to have a belief mindset that you actually can make an income, whether that income is from a side hustle, whether it's from you starting a whole new business, whether it's you just asking for a raise at work. You have to believe you're worthy of that and that you can receive it. And then establish that amount. You get specific with it. And Think and Grow Rich, it's like put a date. Put the amount of money you want. Say what you want to do to get the money. Like, get specific as possible. That way the universe knows what it's working with. Because if you're just like, oh, I want more money, you find a penny on the floor, technically you made
Got
more
more
money. You got
money.
more money.
Yeah.
The deed is done, right?
Right.
So get specific about what exactly it is you want. To develop that mindset around it, and you just choose something to go with it. We have so many platforms available. Like, you found me on TikTok. I now follow you. We're on Instagram together. We're on Clubhouse. Like,
Yeah.
there's just so many platforms, right? And each platform, if you're intentional about how you show up on it, you can get clients from there, customers from there. But how are you showing up? And of course, what are you offering? What are your services? Is it obviously helping people? Things like that you learn when you're developing products and businesses and services. But yeah, the mindset part is first. Otherwise, you can create the biggest, baddest invention, but you don't know how to communicate it, or believe in yourself. Who's gonna believe in you?
Right, right. Oh, yeah. Three things come up for me.
Right.
I don't want to lose one of them. I'm probably going to lose one of them or two of
Oh,
them.
no, don't even say that. You know
Yeah, you're right.
better.
And just like that,
And it's
and
gone.
Jan is gone. But
Well,
no,
words are
it's not.
powerful, you guys.
Right, right. Super powerful. And I just unmanifested some thoughts. But I did remember one. The
Yeah.
last one that came up, I did just post a post on Facebook.
Mhm.
And I asked, what, as a Black woman, right?
Yeah.
What is more important to you, empowerment or money?
Mm.
And that was the question I want to say how it was answered, because I have a sneaky suspicion how you would answer, right?
Okay.
I have a sneaky suspicion where you place priority of value, right? Because
Okay.
one leads to another. But my surprise was so many women was in there fighting, scratching tooth and nail to prove that money was more important. Give me the money, give me the money, give me the money. I'll empower
Right.
myself. I'll empower myself. And one thing that I became clear on is that they felt like to become empowered meant to be given powers by somebody else. And it's like, that's not the case. It's a power that you're the source of the power.
Yeah.
Whatever comes along in your life to uncover the power that is there is essentially empowerment.
Yeah.
So I was surprised, and this is coming up for me because I didn't think it wasn't one of those polarizing posts. Like, I wasn't trying to trigger anybody. It was just like a softball.
But there was an
You know?
uproar.
Yeah. The post blew up, and like I had to delete some people. The people
Oh
get deleted. It's no, not because of like beef or anything, but because
no.
I want to align myself
The
with people
energy.
that are ready to move forward
The
with what we're
energy.
doing,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
They're not gonna hold me back. I got love to give, but I only have 5,000 spots on my Facebook. So not
Right,
every
right.
you can't just hold up a spot. Come on now.
That's true. People trying to connect and they can't because it's all blocked up. All the
Right.
spots are taken.
Yeah. So you get to
Yeah.
wean people out. But that was a interesting experience that I had. And I'm curious to know what comes up for you when I say that.
Well, you said you had a sneaky suspicion. What do you what do you think it
Well,
is?
I don't want to project and I don't want to take the words out of your mouth. What's more important to you,
Um,
empowerment or money?
my guy. So empowerment comes first. If it wasn't for empowerment, I wouldn't even be able to make money doing what I'm doing. So and you could have all the money in the world and be hella miserable. So it's like definitely empowerment comes first, personal development comes first, mindset comes first, and then the money will follow. This is why a lot of people who win the lottery go broke. They don't have the mindset to have that money. They got lucky, they have it, they don't know what to do with it, and it goes away. Same with like a lot of professional athletes. So it's just a matter of again beginning with the mindset and empowering yourself, or you could use resources, you could use tools, you could use coaches, you can use different various leaders to help you be more empowered and more knowledgeable and prepared. But that's ultimately where it begins, because that way, if God forbid you get all this amount of money, however it comes, you lose it, you know how to get the shit back.
Right.
Like if you don't have a mindset, or just to even keep it, to maintain it, to grow it. How about that? Like,
Right.
so yeah, empowerment definitely for me would come first, for sure.
Right, right. One of the questions, the follow-up questions I would ask is, what does a disempowered person do with money? They
Recklessly spend it, or they
try to fill a void.
hoard it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they look to they look to the outside. They see what other people are doing because they don't really know themselves. They haven't done the work to really identify who they are, what their values are, what their beliefs are. So they look to the outside world socially to see like, oh, what do I do with money? I buy a house, I buy a car, maybe I buy jewelry, maybe I rain it on women, like whatever it is,
Right.
whatever their vice. And they usually do that, unfortunately, instead of learning like, okay, let me invest it here, let me invest it there. And yeah, the house is kind of like a hit miss option. But like, are you intentional with it? Are you living beyond your means? Like, are you buying properties so that people can rent it out, or are you just buying a big baller's house so that you can say you live in a big house? So when you have the mindset to um, when you have a healthy money mindset, you'll learn, or you'll at least uh, go to learn wherever you can, like some good financial tips so that you can continue to have this financial freedom, and then the money doesn't become a burden or someone that runs you dry, and ends up making you miserable.
Right. So I came to the conclusion that everybody that said money probably didn't have any.
I didn't want to say that.
I knew you did. I didn't want to say it either, but we got to run towards the uncomfortable conversation, because you just look at the one sentence. They would say, I want money,
Yeah.
which means
Yeah.
money is something that I don't have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of them that will say, give me the money because I'm already empowered, or I can empower myself. That also leads me to believe that you're not empowered, or it's a spectrum. There's no like destination to empowerment. You can always dive deeper and find more power, right?
Yeah.
But to be empowered to a certain degree is to realize how powerful it is in how you feel, how you show up,
Mm-hmm.
and also how you make your money, right? So to say, I want the money means that not only do you not have the money, but there's some empowerment to be done as well,
Yeah, for sure.
and connecting with other people to be built up, to be celebrated.
Yeah, I agree.
So it was deep. That was a
Yeah.
deep conversation that
Yeah.
I it's just
You get a lot of perspectives and thoughts and viewpoints from the question like that. So it's
all right.
it's good. Yeah.
Feel free to use it. It's
Ah,
all
thanks.
yours.
What's more important to you?
Yeah. So, what is it like to work with Kelly Green?
Oh, it's great. So I've heard. um, people, it's an experience. So, depending on what we're working on throughout the day, because aside from my like 1 hour sessions, everything's like very customized, like with my program. So we work with whatever you're working on, like whatever you want to work on. So it might be meditations with music at some points during the session, or it might be tapping, or it might be doing time techniques, or that's a technique where you actually take somebody along the journey of their personal timeline to pinpoint whenever they had started having this issue of, maybe it was like, people don't like me, so they're always afraid to go around new people, meet new people don't like me. So you take them on a timeline to see when that thought came up first, so we can pour into that thought, and then bring them back to the future, so that blockage or that entanglement there is no longer something that holds them back. So it's really like, it's it's deep. It gets a little deep, but my nature, my personality is to be up and positive and happy, so I do make sure I bring them back up, to a happy place. We don't stay in things where the trauma was too
Right.
too aggressive. And yeah, it's fun. I mean, you guys can check the testimonials on my pages. Like, people enjoy me, my personality, loving working with me, and I give them results. So it's exciting for me to show up to each sessions. I have one today at like 3, which is in like 2 hours from now. And yeah, it's just really fun, and I'm very open, and it's like a shame-free zone. Like, if you're someone who's like, I am jealous of my sister, like, I ain't gonna judge you. I'm not gonna judge you. We're gonna work on it together. And that's the practice of what I do as well. It's like, we work on it together. I'm not your leader, I'm not your boss, I'm not telling you what to do. I listen, and we work together on whatever it is you want to work on. If there's something that stands out and I say, you know what, I think we should work on this today, we do that. Or I have a suggestion and you go, actually, something came up this week, I prefer to work on this. And we make it work. So very flexible, very fun, very light. We do get deep, very introspective. Everyone's like, wow, like a lot, like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Wait a minute, this whole time,
That's
so
what it
it's
was
a
there the
lot of
whole
that.
time. Yep.
A lot of realizations, which is great. And I even had a client a couple of days ago. She's like, "Is it normal for me to have all these thoughts all of a sudden now?" Because she's like starting to realize different like opportunity and just different things about herself. I said, "Yes, it's actually very normal. Good job.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Keep it up. Yes, you're doing great, sweetie. You're doing great."
What's
I love
your favorite result to deliver?
it. My favorite result to deliver. That's a good question. My favorite result to deliver. Mm, the one where, because I've actually seen shifts, um, shifts in my clients physically, like, because obviously we do it through Zoom, because I've worked with clients all around the country, the world even. I've had clients from outside of the U.S. as well.
Mhm.
And I can physically notice a shift in them. So it's not necessarily one thing in particular, like one result, but I
Right.
can see them standing up taller. I can see them being more outspoken. I can hear about their week and hear where they set boundaries where they normally would not have. I can hear them stand up for themselves in situations where they normally would have been more timid. I can
Mhm.
see I can see that they understand their worth,
Mhm.
that they know the desires that they first came to me with, where they were like scared to even say it because it maybe seemed too big. They're like,
Mhm.
oh, I deserve this. Like I want to get, I'll do someone in a job still. Like I deserve a raise for $10,000. Before it was like, I think I can ask for 10,000. Maybe is that too much? To the point where it's like, okay, we've worked on this. I'm ready to ask for that. I have the meeting tomorrow. Like their whole like identity has shifted, and that's the most amazing thing for me because I'm just watching it and I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they don't even notice it until the end. And I'm like, think back onto how you would have, approached this before, and like, wow, like what a complete difference. Or like entrepreneurs who didn't even have an idea, because I work with a lot of like creatives as well,
Mhm.
and it's like and entrepreneurs, and they come to me with thinking they have this one idea, which is very often, it's very often aligned with something somebody else is already doing, I've
Mhm.
noticed. And it might just be that, everybody's watching everybody else and like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But
Mhm.
it's like, what are you called to do though? Like, how
Right,
do you
right.
want to make an impact? What seems aligned to you, not what other people may want to see you do, and I've seen them I've helped them get clarity on what it is they should be doing and what excites them, and they start whole businesses and start making money. And I'm like, yes,
Yes, yes,
get it,
indeed.
get it, come on. So yeah, that identity shift ultimately that's my favorite. That's the best.
Right. I agree. I agree. And in my journey, in my development as a coach, I had this idea that everybody that I worked with wanted to make money. They wanted to make their investment back. They wanted a profit, and they all wanted to start a business. And I was like, energetically, I wanted to impose that on everybody. Like, you don't know you want to start a business yet, but you want to start a business. But what I found by listening, and I work with mostly Black women, is that they want to be fully expressed. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be guided and nurtured, and they want to feel safe enough ultimately to share the gift that's in their heart, right? So whatever that looks like, some women just want to be courageous enough to tell their story,
Mhm, exactly.
just to share their truth. And it's a beautiful thing because now I get to do what is truly meaningful and not just what I thought
Yeah,
was going to justify, my programs. I was like,
yeah.
I need
I,
to justify this somehow. So I gotta
I resonate with that. I had the same feeling. I was going back and forth. I'm like, do I say I only work with people who want to be entrepreneurs? Do I say only people who want to start? Because and plus that's what everybody was doing. And you start to think, okay, do people who only help people make businesses make money? Like, how does this
Mhm,
work? What if you just really want to help with mindset and helping their life, which ultimately can help with that. I have a
mhm,
business degree, so people talk to me. I'm an entrepreneur. I know things, so I can help there, but it's like I don't feel like I should only work with those type of people. So I too was like, back and forth on it, because I'm like, I just want to help people create a shift, become confident, live their best life, be happy,
right, right,
you know, have a great mindset, and everything else, is positively affected when you do those things.
right. And that makes it all worth it. It's more than worth it. There's no
Sure.
price tag that you can
No,
put
yeah,
on
no,
things
no,
like
no.
this.
Mm-mm.
Um, as far as like the difference between coaching and therapy, have you ever thought about that before?
I have. And they're similar in a way. They're pretty similar. Obviously, different lessons and teachings when you go to school for therapy and things like that. And I felt like life coaching was it's it's there, but there
Mhm,
obviously are differences, and that's why I wanted to get my certification in NLP as well, just to
mhm,
have that additional source of impact for my clients. So that's been astronomically, amazingly helpful. Um, but yeah, it's just like, what's your preference? Like, what's your preference? People approach therapy differently. People approach coaching differently. Um, so and in fact, I thought about being a therapist maybe like 6 years ago or something like that. Because again, I like people, I like helping,
Right,
and I
right.
was like, oh, maybe I should go to school for that. And I forgot how I got talked out of it. I think someone said, I forgot, I got talked out of it somehow. I don't even remember. I like blocked it out. But I ended
It
up,
wasn't your true calling.
it wasn't, yeah. So somehow or another, it was like, nah. They were like, nah.
Right, right.
Yeah. So I just work for myself now,
It's
full
way
time,
better.
and yeah, and
That's
it's
solid.
delightful.
Yes, indeed. I know the feeling. I feel the
Yeah,
vibes through the screen.
yeah,
What what I've come to understand is like the difference between therapy and coaching is that therapy is more so for like uh overall well-being or to get to a place of peace or just understanding of what's going on for the sake of not suffering anymore. So like diving deep, of course we do the same things. We have to dive deep into like trauma, childhood traumas and things like that. But therapy is more of like an ongoing thing. Like there's no end date to therapy because it's all
yeah,
about continuously working through stuff. Whereas
yeah.
coaching is a 3 month, a 6 month, an 8 month program because there's specific things
For a
that you
result.
want to achieve. Yeah, you want a specific result, not
Yeah,
just general well being.
yeah, yeah.
And I think, what do I think? I think that's important, an important distinction to make because I think my one of my responsibilities as a coach is to identify when somebody has come to me and they don't need a coach, they need therapy.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Mhm.
and I've got to be honest with them, like I'm here to support you, but maybe look into BetterHelp needs, we need to come up with a deal or something. I need an affiliate link or something.
That
but
is funny. Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's important because a lot of people like it, what it takes for me to work with me is we need some type of glimpse of a vision of what you want to create in your life, right? And if we get on the phone and all you have 90 to 100% of the things you say are the world is against me, can't do nothing for this, for this, for that, for this. Okay, well, what if it was this way? And you just go right back into negativity. It's like there's a lot of baggage there, and it may not be for a coaching program. But what do you think about that?
I agree. And it's unfortunate. We can't help everybody.
Mhm.
um, but there are certain um, professionals who help for certain issues, right? So when someone does come to me with that mindset, they are clearly not even ready for a shift. They found me somehow. Maybe I'm the first point of like, here's some help over here. Unfortunately, it's not with me, and it's sad when you have to have those conversations. I don't have them often, not very often. Usually people come to me because my energy, and they're like, I'm ready, I want to do,
Right. Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm tired of this lifestyle. Get me the
Yeah.
hell out. Like one of them.
Anything. I don't know what you
Yeah.
do, but do
I
it.
don't know what to do, but I want to do something.
Yeah.
I already started watching videos, the books. I'm like, okay, good job. Like you started.
Yeah.
Let's continue. But there are people who are like, I don't think I'll ever get past this, or I can't live without this person, or that. And I'm like, okay, all right. I'm hearing them. I'm trying to listen out for any inkling that they are available for a shift,
Hmm.
other than what they think, what they're saying. Um, Sorry, I feel like I'm about to.
It is. Bless
Excuse
you.
me. um,
We're not
and if
cutting
it's
that
not
out either.
right, if it's not, I'm not sick, y'all. It's just
Yeah.
yeah. If it's not present, unfortunately, it's like, oh, I feel like we're not a fit, because that's the thing about the coaching. I don't know if you call it a consultation call, a discovery call, what have you. It's to see if both are a fit, not to just see if you want to work with me. I have to see if I not only want to work with you, or if I can help you. The whole
Right.
point of working with me, I don't want your money just to have your money. Like I want to help you.
Right.
Um, so if that's not an opportunity, then you
We
have to
get
tell them,
experience.
or they'll realize it. And yeah,
Yeah.
um, because even with my techniques, like some people may need a licensed therapist or a clinical psychologist, like whatever it is. Um, so yeah, you gotta just send them on their way.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a part about what makes what you do very special and very effective, is because you're really good at what you do and you know how to get results, right? So it's all about really knowing the ins and outs of the person that you're dealing with. It
Yeah.
just like any other type of boundaries, like in your romantic relationship, you can't have a successful relationship without the things that you are not going, you have to say no to. And I think that's important for anybody doing anything, whether it's a relationship, a business, anything. You have your hell yeses and you have your hell nos, and recently, and I'm starting to like come up with this a little bit more and seeing the effects of it right now in my journey. I actually just had a conversation with somebody who was DMing me about getting coaching support, and I'm like, of course, I'm open to it at that level, but I'm gonna ask you, okay, so what do you think your mission in life is? Any type of glimpse. What gifts would you like to share with the world? Do you have anything that's just calling to be, shared and expressed?
Right.
And she's like, no, no, none of that, none of that. I just want to make money. So I'm
Oh,
like, I can't help you. I can't help you just make money without any idea of what you're willing to give in return for that.
what's the impact before the income? Like,
Right. Yeah. Impact over income. And so I'm explaining this to her, and she's just, I don't know why. Like, I'm like, yo, there's so many coaches out here. Like, why are you so adamant? But I guess, I don't know, that whole mindset of people want what they can't have.
true, true.
I've
Yeah.
never
That's
had
what if
it.
they can't have it, they're gonna want it 10 times more.
Right. But I'm like,
More to get
no.
it. Right.
She's like, you serious? I'm like, yeah, no, it's not a good fit.
It's
It's
not a
not
good
a good
fit.
fit.
It's not a good
Yeah.
fit. Yeah.
Right.
But
That's
yeah, some
beautiful.
people don't want to understand that, but yeah, we'll get over it.
Yeah,
Hopefully, I hope that,
hopefully they'll find something.
that's on them. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. So I'm sold. It's time to sign up for Kelly Green's coaching. How do we get in contact with you?
So okay, so I have my website, of course, kellygreen.co. That's KELLEYGREEN. So green like the color. And then across all my socials, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, wherever you want to find me, it's all at Kelly Green _. And then if you go to my Instagram, or my Twitter, usually like my links are everywhere for like my email, kelly@kellygreen.co, and DMs, yeah, wherever you wanna reach me. I would love to connect with anyone listening who's interested in working with me, or having conversation to see if we're a fit. Because I will get you results, and I'm excited about what I do. I love what I do. Can't see myself doing anything else. And yeah, I want people to create their new identities and create a life they love.
Yes, indeed. What's the number one thing anyone needs to know and realize right now before take that first step into living a life by design instead of by default?
The first thing, oh wow, one thing. Um, take a deep breath. So the one thing is knowing that you have a choice. You ultimately have a choice to accept that the universe has your back, and you can become anyone you want to be.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been a phenomenal talk. I had a lot of fun talking to
Me
you. Thank
too.
you again for talking to us.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for listening. Please connect.
Yes, indeed. Connect up, and everybody listening, as always, love, love, be well, and don't forget to have the guts to follow your guts. Peace.